Hey, greetings to all in creation. I'm Aurora and I'm greeting you in the highest. And this is a little summary for the moment of how I was revived by the extraterrestrial orders that you murdered in Russia. So when I first got picked up, some etheric beings had already administered substances in me. You were not able to see any of this. And you all remember how my back went like coach, and I rose like that in the ship. And then what took place was they had this like centrifuge disinseminator placed in my like the inside of my mouth for the gagging of the humans to not affect me. So when you go like because when there's like erect dick, any female of your species will know and go towards it. I don't. That's when you start to think I'm evil and you call the spider Aurora. But if you start to think in retrospect, firstly, when David Abbott Rogers picked me up at Tampa Airport, and we were supposed to go to Sarasota, Florida, his home at 95 Island Circle, 34242. Instead, because he was supposed to transform to, Satan for me, because they had this belief system their whole life that they were hoping would work. He did not transform, and instead of going to Sarasota, we went against the direction of where we were supposed to go. We drove in another direction for 12 consecutive hours under the worst storm ever. It started to rain hysterically on us. We were in a Mustang, and he was really loud, and just I couldn't really ground my energies at that level. And that's when firstly I like later when we finally got to a Siesta Key and I entered what then became my home, that now, I guess my attorney gave probably to Crystal Cordoba Dina Tabrawi or Dina Tabet. I'm not very sure. Dina Tabet. That's when I broke down in menstrual cycle and stuff like that. So, and then 15 days later, and then I stopped bleeding for years until I recovered it after I went to DMV Sarasota. I got my license. Like any step I take towards freedom, I regain. I don't know if you see the flashes. Every time I say something right, they flash. And it's not like past to the sky. It's not another place. It's the only place there is, and this place is against the only place there is. So this place is density. It's gravity based. So you suffer, you have ailments, illnesses. Where I went, they removed all that very, very quickly because I already didn't have much human in me anymore. I already had been deorganized. Like they removed everything, my heart, my tummy, my stomach, my intestines, my what do you call those, kidneys, liver, pancreas, and all these little organs that give out say bile, like the stomach. I don't have that either. I currently only have a spleen, and I base my whole life on it. So I am in a parallel dimension now to you all. I don't really understand many innuendos that you give, but I'm starting to understand more of the truth of being human in your terms. So let's give codes here. I then around, I don't know if it was maybe 2016 or 2015, early on in Hilton Head. I was on the ocean once by a colleague. And that's like way after I'd seen the auroral lights, and before I even remembered Aurora, before I even went to Shasta, I had seen the lights when they still had us like go freely to the ocean at night. And at the simultaneous spot, simultaneously behind me on the palm trees, landed extremely fast out of nowhere machinationals that were like spider-like but metallic, that would like they would do like these things on the trees behind me, on the top of the tree, several places in the trunk of the tree. And then I at that level didn't know, the difference, but now I know. However, after that event, they removed something from my throat which had in it antibiotics. That's when they sent me a signal that I should limit my sun exposure, because they said to remind me that we are not solar beings, we are not part of the solar system, that's only a test. And that the alternate reality, as soon as it comes, this will no longer really be. So whoever of you can make the grade and the shift will understand when that occurs. And there's many of you who are welcome and able to do that. So I don't see why, instead of being your own greatest fans, you're giving down to this alternate spider reality. But that is not anything I can do anything about. So all I can do is continue my healing, because now what's going on is, if I am able to, I'm going to regain a shape that has been pre-ordained over me without the laser plasma tech. So we're going to prove that I'm a better surgeon than any of your staff surgeons or surgeons without a scalpel, by the work I'm doing internally on myself. And you can all attest to the fact that I truly no longer look like the person you met in high school, say, or when I was on a wheelchair, or when I was in Ateneo speaking Hebrew and cussing everyone type thing. So now the Hebrews, like the Jewish stance, since they couldn't accept me as a woman, is to make me the son of any of these guys locally. That's what they were working towards. And I understand you. I understand you in in your rational way. Like, this is what you think is the way. But if it was, David would not have driven 12 hours against his own home in a storm. So that gap is going to be enough in case you take the wrong decision. And now we extraterrestrials, we all know what my stolen ovary has done, and my stolen knee, that's Satan, my stolen appendix, that's Dina Tabrawi. So especially, and then my stolen piece of brain, Aaron. The ones who will be judged in the highest are the ones that stole after my UFO. The ones that stole before are also going to be extremely judged. And then the ones that started to traffic that after placing me in illegal arrests here on Earth, just to test me on terrestrial levels, when, at least, but you can't blame cops, because their basic they're basic retards. I mean, if I am to really think about it, how would they know? All they know is, in the end, they're going to say, I'm Shirin Risha, the prostitute, in their 911 plan, by Mohamed Nasrallah, because it, failed the grade, and then, like, they had me in, my own grade, then they placed me in a, like, younger grade, and Kareem. That's why when the spider first, they'll have it first bite Satan, because he was my first love as Aurora then. My second love as Melania was Aaron. Then as Jima, my third love was Kareem, and we were totally platonic. Kareem and I went, like Jesus and I, we had a relationship that was so close for years. For years, he was my best friend ever. And we never fucked or did anything. We only made that one time, and he never penetrated me that time. So I think that's why Aaron is able to torture Jesus with a spider, and then Satan does it to Lucifer. Which to me, when I am back to Mother of all creation, especially Mother New Creation, because I remember them now as Gina, Ariane, and Nikki. I don't really remember. Karim is different because we spent a lot of time. And Aaron, I saw him and met him as, a guy who just put handcuffs on me and, came up to me many times as a cop and talked to me. That's it. But now for me to make the gap melt and to link Ariane with the current Aaron persona is taking some time for me to make ends meet. And then the fact that, the royals have had to lie, especially Prince William, for a person who doesn't have, his face. I have his right cheek. That's why when SLED takes my inner cheek smudge for SLED DNA USA, it will tell Prince William's DNA. My left is Prince Harry. And they are actually Dima Tabrawi WI, Dima Tabrawi OUI by birthright. That's their DNA. My DNA is Aurora Al-Khoury, the rest of me, like everything else, my skin, my everything. That's why now they plan to remove my skin and give it to whoever and put on me the skin of somebody burnt. And then, however, as soon as they put me in a refrigerator, you will not be, because you will not be able to proceed forward. It will be just darkness. You will all panic. And it's not going to be like in your, prophecies, like 3 days of darkness, and then you continue, la la la. Then there's no continuation. Then there's eternal suffering for all involved. You will never be forgiven, because the original intent was so good for you as a species, and every time you start to choose wars, famines, COVID-19, and I try to blame myself. I try to see what I've done wrong. Why I didn't receive my passport in 2017. Why this is still going on. I try to see what's my fault. And my fault is giving terrestrials so much importance on my life. Because now I shouldn't even be talking to terrestrials. I should only be reporting to my higher authorities and watching terrestrials. If I even try to associate, I already have lost. Now I have to only find like-minded people that can understand with no judgment and can understand that in parallel I have an abused family that can't get out of it. They're always going to be abused by spiders, but that are going to be able to, at an intelligence level, to not every time they leave the house pick up have them suck their dicks, trick me. Somebody that is wise human, that is not a child trying to endanger humanity to play like the next Us5, the next that's all I'm seeking now. And I believe it is findable. I don't believe every humanoid, will want to play that role. And that's my scope now of attraction. That's what I'm trying to manifest into my world. I gave a little attempt. It wasn't that, positive last week. So now I have to be more careful on who I try to come near to, because they might already be sold out and use me before I even ignite a connection. So I have to follow my right reasoning on those topics. And that's it. So to all in creation, I love you, I embrace you in the highest, and I send you all the glory and wonder that I am able to right now. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.